Recording in progress.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Emanations of Light Podcast. I'm your host, Audrey. Welcome back to this week's podcast, everybody. If you're new to my podcast, I'm Audrey, and I serve as a Divine Sovereign Ascension guide, healer, and multidimensional artist. You'll find all my links in the description page if you desire to work with me, or if you want to purchase any of my sacred malas. Okay, folks, so I got a doozy for y'all today. I'm finally going to go ahead and just dive into the topic of divine spiritual sovereignty. Dun, 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 dun. I will try my best to cover as much as possible from personal sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty, and divine spiritual sovereignty, and what the differences are. I want to cover as much as I can, and honestly, the best way I can, the way I've come to understand and embody it myself. I do have to be clear on this before we begin. Since I'll be speaking about divine spiritual sovereignty, I found that it's always best to receive this information by first taking pause, drop into your heart, and then receive that information from that place. Because it's the only place it's going to make sense. And for whatever reason, if it doesn't, then that's okay as well. It just means that you may not be ready for it. And that's all right. So, it is what it is. Okay, well, let's do this. This is such an important topic to define, because what I've been noticing, especially in the spiritual community, obviously, is that there's a lot of more conversation on this topic. And I just want to make sure that you, the listener, my listeners, truly understand what personal sovereignty is versus divine spiritual sovereignty and what the differences are. So then you have a better idea and comprehension of these differences, so you can make, decisions based off of that, right? So I always like to be clear about stuff. If I don't understand it, then I'm like, I want to understand. Okay. Now, another big clarification is that I want to point out. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an expert on this topic either, but I have learned from the best, my mentors, on the topic. And still to this day, I continue to learn more and embody this teaching. And trust me when I say this, they, my mentors, are experts on divine spiritual sovereignty, as they are also mentors and experts on ascension mechanics, and are here for this evolutionary stage that we're currently find ourselves at. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, let's begin, shall we? Okay, let's start with personal sovereignty first, and let's define what that means. So personal sovereignty is, each individual owning their body, mind, and, you're aware of your conscience, and it's about self kind of governing. It means having full control over your life without being restricted by another person or things and stuff. It's about recognizing that you're the ultimate decision maker in your life, no external influences or circumstances. And it is deeply connected to personal freedom, the ability to live accordingly to your values, beliefs, and your desires. And this is great. And it's a very, very important aspect to our spiritual evolution. However, what most spiritual teachers are failing to realize that it does not liberate your soul, and it does not release you from the 3D controlling matrix and the influences and the manipulation of controlling nefarious energies that unfortunately have infiltrated and governed the third dimensional reality. It does, however, help you to understand yourself better, create healthy boundaries, and it is extremely helpful to the individuation process. And I also see a lot of spiritual teachers talk about spiritual sovereignty. And a lot of them speak about like not consenting to things, energies, and so forth. And you might even see people right now creating their own written declarations, etc., saying, I don't consent to this, yada, yada. But that still does not make you a divine spiritual sovereign. You know, honestly, you can say you're sovereign all day long, all you want. But unless you actually go through the true process of reclaiming your divine spiritual sovereignty, then you're not. I hate to break it to everybody. But you cannot achieve true self-ownership, divine spiritual sovereignty, without completing a document called the Declaration of Divine Sovereignty. Now, unfortunately, there's no way around this, and I'm going to explain why. So just have patience. I do have my notes here, so I want to be thorough as possible. Okay. So upon birth, via your birth certificate, when you got a heel prick test, where they took your DNA, your soul at that time became property of Rome. And it is still owned until this day, right? Until you decide to take your bloodline, your DNA, back from those controlling factions. And it only is done by completing this document and going through the process. And I'm going to explain deeper. So your DNA contains your entire life stream, our memories, our spiritual power, our spiritual selves, aspects from every lifetime that we've ever, had. And it has been highly coveted, valued, and misused by many nefarious forces. Our memories have been wiped away so that we remain asleep to our true identities, powers, and our spiritual. You think you're just this human being having this subjective experience, but you, the listener, we are so much more than that. So the more you awaken to your divine self, you begin to understand why spiritual divine sovereignty is so, so important. Because divine spiritual sovereignty is about reclaiming your divine spiritual sovereignty, your DNA back from the controlling rulers. Whatever you want to call them, evil powers, the structures that stole it from the first place. I mean, it puts you back in control of yourself, your body, your soul. But it starts with wanting to, and then actually going through the process, and then also declaring to the universe source that, you're going to take original ownership over your own sovereign estate, which basically means your physical body, your trust, your mind, and your soul. And it is no longer available to be owned. And this can only be done by completing this document called the Declaration of Divine Sovereignty. This document is to contract you out of that deception that unknowingly began at your birth and the creation of your original birth certificate, because you became property of Rome, and your soul and your soul essence has been manipulated and capitalized ever since then. And I'm going to post all the links and more information on where you can read all about this. So when you actually go through the process of reclaiming your divine sovereignty, it literally means that you're reclaiming that your mind, body, soul, your sacred sovereign being is no longer available to be used or manipulated without your consent, true consent. And this puts you back in right coherence, the right jurisdiction, and you are the sole owner over your mind, body, and soul, your live stream having this human experience. Your soul is then free from manipulation, reincarnation, and so much more, contracts and stuff that it's been awful, honestly. Oh my gosh, okay. I know that's a lot to digest, and you probably have a lot of questions by now. How, when, what the heck, what the F, right? What do you mean? I know it's a lot. And so this is where I'm going to just ask you to just kind of take pause, drop back into the heart. It's going to be okay. And I'm going to give you the lowdown on how the heck, what, whys, and kind of fill in as much as I can. Again, just receive this information via the heart. I know it's a lot to digest, and it sounds kind of cuckoo at times, right? But trust me, it's all real. Okay. So let's start first, baby steps. Since we are spiritual beings living on this beloved planet Earth we call home, when your soul chose to come into this body, it unfortunately, upon entry, was stripped away from our spiritual sovereignty into what is known, where we're currently living, as a third deep-controlled matrix. And it's under false ruling systems and a lot of man-made laws. So back in 1302, under the Papal Bull Unum Sanctum, that was written by Pope Boniface, he issued a decree stating that all souls and creatures would be owned by Rome. And that declaration still stands today unless you decide to reclaim your divine sovereign rights. So in essence, at that time, Rome claimed you, us, and everyone, and no one spoke up because no one knew. Remember, we've been in this total control matrix and we've been kept in amnesia-like stance. That decree includes everyone, right? It includes you and your body and your soul through every lifetime since 1302 and further. And Mother Earth has been in a spiritual war for a very long time. And as I mentioned, the commodity is your DNA, your spiritual essence, because we're powerful. We generate so much energy. So when they took your DNA at birth, via the heel prick test, they created what is called a blood stamp bond under your name. And they've been using your spiritual essence for their use. The bond they created is what is called a straw man. This is your name under your higher case legal fiction, the name on the original birth certificate, your name that's in all cap letters, all cap letters that you see your bills that are sent to. And this is why it's all cap, because basically your commodity, your stock, your bond. So your original birth certificate is a bond created on your soul and your ability to generate energy in this lifetime. And that's why they do that. So, and to them, what we mean energy is money, because they basically own you through your birth certificate. And that in fact is kind of slavery. I mean, don't you think? I mean, it's like we're slaves to the system. We're slaves to unknown forces until you reclaim your divine sovereignty. And this is why becoming a divine spiritual sovereign is the only way to liberate yourself and become fully spiritually sovereign. Because you must reclaim your DNA back from their database. And this can only be done as a physical act through this document and process that has been brought back to Earth from Mother, Father, and the Godhead. And it is here to assist in true ascension and liberation. And like I said, I know this is so difficult to digest at first, and you probably have loads of questions and maybe even some fear coming up. And I want you to know that this is all normal, but your soul will know if it wants to move forward in learning more and how to go about the process. So just honor where you are, go back into your heart and ask questions from that place. And if it is something that you would like to learn or do, then, you'll know it. You'll feel that nudge. So also, I will definitely be sharing more information on this topic. And I will have my beloved mentors on soon to have more of these sacred conversations on divine spiritual sovereignty. You're going to get it straight from them in their own words, in their own emanations, their own codes. And, and then you can receive it from there. And then I'll also have some of my other divine spiritual, divine sovereigns, sisters and other divine sovereigns on, so they can share their knowledge and wisdom. Obviously my goal is to make this understandable to the heart the best way I can. I mean, I know it's a lot of information. It's a lot to digest. And I'm just, trying to help make sense of it to everybody, right? So I also believe by having them on, you'll also feel the essence of that frequency of what it is to be a divine sovereign. And then we can also talk about like, well, what does that really mean? So, okay. Obviously it's such an important topic for this time and stage of our spiritual awakening journey, because the more we realize how incredibly powerful we truly are, we can really make amazing shifts in our lives. And then you can actually become magical co-creators of, and you know what? Honestly, the earth really needs you right now, really needs more divine sovereigns, because you know what? Your soul essence is yours and yours alone, and nothing has the right to use it without your consent. And then wouldn't it be great if we could generate so much peace and love and abundance and a safe haven for all of us? I mean, after all, like our Mother Earth is just going through so many changes, and we see all the fires and everything kind of happening. But if everyone started to really awaken to your divine nature, we could really make a huge shift in this world. Because we can, because then that's how powerful and amazing you are. And it's time for us to liberate ourselves from these controlling matrices, and bring unity back onto this earth finally, once again. Okay. Another thing, I just want to plant more seeds of remembrance. I just want to make sure that you understand that no being, avatar, or person is going to come save you, not your soul, etc. You are the one that has this knowing, this coding, and it resides within you. It resides within us all. And it may be stirring, or it may be, but it's there. You, beautiful being, are the second coming. You are the Christ. You have this Christic architecture, and it all begins with reclaiming your DNA, your mind, body, and soul back, and remember your true divine self. Whew. Okay, I think that's all for now. I'm going to post a lot of links, but especially to the Declaration of Divine Sovereignty website, where you can read more along, on this, the Unum Sanctum and all that. It has it all in there, basically. So you can read and do your research. Remember, drop into your heart, ask questions from there, and then, the answers will follow. And then also, I'm going to post some links on the Divine Sovereign Academy school page. And this is where you can join us and learn more on spiritual sovereignty. And okay, and then what else? Oh, and then if you want to book a one-on-one consultation with me, it's going to be all there. So I love you so much. And before I forget, so great movies, which are really documentaries to watch, is obviously The Matrix, if you haven't seen it. And then the movie Jupiter Ascending. Because this is where they flat out tell you what they've done. Because movies are a way they tell you what they're up to and have been. And I'm talking about the controlling the rulers. Because the dark must always tell you what they're planning. And this is a way they sidestep accountability. And this is called giving notice. And because we were not in the know of the rules to the game, they have managed to sidestep a lot of karma. But the great thing is that it gets all reconciled once you reclaim and you become truly spiritually sovereign, because you hold all the divine authority of your soul in your body. Okay, so that is it. That's the emanation of today. I just send you so much love, compassion, and obviously, I will be back with more. And if you need some guidance, you need some support, whatever it is that you need, we have a lot of beautiful souls that have been on this journey for quite some time that can assist you process stuff, heal trauma, heal the fear, pretty much everything. So That's it for now, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's emanation, and I love you. Bye, everybody. See you soon.